Hi. So in this set we have A, B, C, D, E, F and G. They are 7 people in a town and any pair of them could be either friends, acquaintances or friends. All relationships are mutual. For example, if A is a friend of B, then B is also a friend of A. If A is a stranger to B, then B is also a stranger to A. If A is acquaintances with B, then B is also acquaintances with A. Right? Mutual relationship. Now, partial information about the number of friends, acquaintances and strangers of each of these people among them is given in this table. And there are some additional facts given. Based on this, we have to figure out what is the relationship between these 7 people. Okay, so let's make a table for this. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So, what we'll do is basically we will only be considering the bottom half of the table because the relationship between AB is same as the relationship of BA, right? So I'll just cross everything. Fine. So let's start with the first point. A, B and C are mutual strangers. So A is stranger with B, B is stranger with C and A is stranger with C. So okay. A is stranger to B as well as C. B is stranger with A and B is also stranger with C. Okay, fine. Next, A, D and F are Azel's friends. Okay, so Azel's friends are A, D and F. So E and F are friends. So we have this. Azel's friends are A, D and F. Fine. Next, Chandra and Gautam are also friends. So C is friends with G. So this is friends over here. Fine. Next, every friend of Amudha is an acquaintances of Bharatan and every acquaintances of Bharatan is a friend of Amudha. Okay. So someone who is a friend of A is also a acquaintances of Bharatan. So acquaintances. So if E is a friend of A, E will be an acquaintances of Bharatan. Okay. Similarly, every friend of B is an acquaintances of A and every acquaintances of A is a friend of B. Okay. So what we have is, for Amudha, the number of acquaintances is 1. It means for Bharatan, the number of friends will be 1 based on this particular point. Every friend of A is an acquaintance, based on this one. Every friend of Bharatan is an acquaintances of Amudha and every acquaintance of Amudha is a friend of Bharatan. So if there is one acquaintances of Amudha, there must be exactly one friend of Bharatan. Okay? Fine. And also if you look at A, it's given that there are, for A there will be how many relationships? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So A will have 6, there are 6 other people, so A will have a total of 6 relationships, out of which 4 and 1 are strangers and acquaintances. So we have 5. So the remaining one relationship will be that of a friend, whoever it is. That friend is obviously E. And now based on this point here, every friend of Amudha is an acquaintances of Bharat and every acquaintances of Bharat is a friend of Amudha. So if this is 1, this must also be 1, right? And for B, if these 2 are 1 and 1, so out of 6 relationships we have 2, so this definitely must be 4, right? So for based on these 2 points, if you will have a F over here for A, then you'll have to have a A for B, or if we will have an A over here, then we'll have to have a F over here, right? This is going to be the case. Fine. Chalo. Next, let's start with G. For G, we have 2 strangers and 3 acquaintances. So total we have 5 relationships. So there will be one more relationship that will be of a friend. Okay. So Fani and Gautam both have one friend. Fine. So based on these 2 points, let's figure out, can A and B both be friends or not, or both can be acquaintances, or what will be the relationship? If let's say, let's consider F. If we consider F, then what would be the relationship of F with A or B? ठीक है. If F is a friend of A, then F will end up with two friends. So basically F cannot be friend. F already has a friend, that is E, and only one friend is allowed for F. So F cannot be a friend. So F cannot be a friend with A, F cannot be a friend with B as well. So what else is possible? Can F be acquaintances with A? If F is an acquaintances with A, then what will happen is, if anyone who is an acquaintances of A, anyone who is an acquaintances of A will have to be a friend of B. So if we have an A over here, then we'll have to have a F over here, but only one friend is allowed. So the relationship of FA or AF is not allowed, right? So even if you have one F or one A over here, then the other will be either A or F, which is not possible, right? So the only way F can be related with A and B is that F is stranger to both A and B. And same logic applies for G also. G can have only one friend, and that friend is C. So F cannot come over here. So if F cannot come over here, A also cannot come over here, because F and A will come in pair. For relationship of anyone with A and B, the relationship if with one of these two is F, the relationship with the other will be that of A, right? If the relationship with the first person A, then the relationship with the other person will be definitely F. So we'll have a pair of FA at all if it is, or we will have both S's. So again, FA or AF cannot come because we already have a friend. So this relationship must definitely be that of a stranger. Okay, fine. So now we know that for A and B, there is one pair of friend and acquaintances, and there has to be one pair of acquaintances and friend. So the one pair of friend with A and acquaintances with B is that of E. So the only person remaining now is D. So for D, A would be the acquaintances and B will be the friend. Okay, so we have one acquaintances of A who is a friend of B, and this person is D over here. Okay, fine. Now let's look at G. For G, we know there is one friend, which is already figured out, and there are two strangers, which is already figured out. That means the remaining people must all be acquaintances. So the three acquaintances of G are D, E and F, right? Fine. Next, for A and B, we have figured out everyone. For A, there are four strangers, one acquaintances, one friend. For B, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 strangers, one acquaintances, one friend. So we have figured that out, right? Next is, let's look at D. For D, it's given that there are two strangers. So for D, we have one acquaintances and D is basically these lines. So we have 1 plus 1, 2 acquaintances and 2 friends. So the only two positions left for D are these two, and these two definitely must be strangers, right? So this is stranger, this is stranger. So we are done with D. Now let us look at, we have C. Okay. So for C, there is exactly one acquaintances. So for C, we need one acquaintances. That can be either this one or this one. We'll check that. For E, we need one stranger. This is not this. This is E, right? This and this. So these 6 relationships are for E. For E, we need, where is E? For E, we need one stranger. So far we don't have a stranger over here. So the only position for stranger is this. This definitely has to be a stranger, right? Now let's come back to C. So for C, these are the relations, and C has to have one acquaintances. So far we have 4 strangers and one friend. So the only acquaintances position that we have left now is this. So this must be the acquaintance. Okay. So we have figured out the relationship between all the 7 people. Now let's look at the questions. Now look at this first question. Who are Gautam's acquaintances? Okay, G's acquaintances. So G's acquaintances are D, E and F. So the answer to this question is, do we have D, E, F? Yes. Option C is the correct answer here. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. Which of these pairs share the same type of relationship? Okay. So BE. Let's look at BE. BE are acquaintances. What about FG? F and G are also acquaintances. So option A itself is correct. Which of these following pairs have the same relationship? Option A. Okay. If you want, you can check for other 3 pairs as well, but they will not have the same relationship. For example, if you check for B and C, so B and C have a stranger relationship. D and E have a friends relationship. So this relationship, friends, is not same as stranger. So if you check for the other 2 also, it will not be same. Option A is the correct answer. Next, who is an acquaintance of Amudha? For A, Amudha, acquaintance is D. Option B is the correct answer here. Next, who is an acquaintance of Chandra? For C, the acquaintance, for C we have these 6 relationships. The acquaintance is F. Okay. So option C is the correct answer here. How many friends does E have? Okay. So E, where is E? We have E over here. This is E. So E has 1, 2, 3 friends, right? So E has 3 friends. And last question, how many people are either a friend or a friend of Azil? Okay. So we know direct friends of Azil are 3. And who are these 3 friends for Azil? It's A, D and E. So these 3 people are A, D and E. So these 3 are friends of Azil. And how many are friend of a friend for Azil? So let's look at. For A, friends are E. So E is the only friend of A. So no additional friend over here for A. D, let's look at D. For D, the additional friends are B and E himself. So the additional friend is B over here. For E, so not for E. Azil has 3 friends, right? 3 friends are A, D and F. Sorry, this was F. So who are F's friends? So F's friend is only E. No one else is F's friend. So the only additional friend for Azil will be B. So there are 3 direct friends and 1 friend of friend. So the answer here is 4. So that's it for this set. Thank you.